Hey friends, welcome back and hello to you new people too. I'm Courtney and I've got Phaedra and Nyx asleep in the room with me. They're my two standard poodles. If you follow me on Instagram, you see them all the time on my Instagram stories because I'm always including little clips of them. They're just adorable. Anyway, today's video is going to be the cruelty-free tag. I was tagged to do the cruelty-free tag, obviously because I'm a cruelty-free blogger. So let me read the first question. The first question is, tell us about your cruelty-free journey. Where did you start? So apparently, once I started blogging, I was using a lot of cruelty-free products, but not 100% cruelty-free products. So in 2012, when MAC decided to no longer be cruelty-free, that was the catalyst point for me to decide I was going to go cruelty-free. I wrote MAC this like really big long letter. I was heartbroken by MAC and begged them to reconsider going and selling in China, to not test on animals. And I didn't even get a response back. So I was like, well, okay, fuck you then. I'm not gonna support your brand. I'm gonna go into cruelty-free. And I met Jen from My Beauty Bunny, and she helped me along the way with my cruelty-free journey. And then I also met Tashina from Logical Harmony. She helped as well. And so that's where I started. It's 2012, it's now 2018, so I've been cruelty-free for 6 years. Let's see, question number 2. How do you feel about cruelty-free brands with parent companies that test on animals? All right, so for me personally, I support cruelty-free brands whether or not they have a cruelty-free parent company. The reason for this is that I feel like you vote with your dollars, and brands look at how much those cruelty-free brands bring in for them. So I think that it also basically influences other brands to go cruelty-free, and I also want to give brands incentive to go cruelty-free. So if a brand is not cruelty-free now, but then they're looking at whether or not they should go cruelty-free, they can look to see, well, people do buy cruelty-free, so it makes sense for us to go cruelty-free financially. There's a lot of different things that are involved in a brand going cruelty-free. So yeah, for me personally, I think it makes a big difference and has an impact. I want to give you an example of a brand. The brand Stila. They used to be cruelty-free. Then they decided to go sell in China. When they decided to go sell in China, I stopped supporting them. I no longer supported them or blogged about them. And I actually gave them a really hard time about them. I wrote them letters, and I was just really not pleased with them when they decided to start selling in China. Anyway, they recently pulled out of China and stopped selling in China and stopped testing on animals, and they let me know. And I was like, oh, hey, well then cool, I'll support you again. And they were very supportive back. So I feel like brands do see incentive whenever you make an effort to buy cruelty-free, and it does influence decisions that they make. Another example would be, another example would be when L'Oreal bought Urban Decay. Urban Decay has always been cruelty-free. They were Leaping Bunny certified for many, many, many years. And then L'Oreal bought them, and people were really worried that they were going to sell in China. People said, don't do this, so they didn't do it. But then people are like, well, I don't want to buy from you because you're owned by L'Oreal. Well, L'Oreal still lets them remain cruelty-free. They still have autonomy in what they do. So I feel, and I know that L'Oreal does absolutely look to see at how much money they make from Urban Decay to see whether or not it's viable for them to buy more cruelty-free brands, for them to be cruelty-free. And I think it has an impact on L'Oreal's policy because if you look, some of their lines have gone vegan, even though they're not cruelty-free because they still sell in China. So I feel like it's having a ripple effect, and it's a really good thing. Finally, in my opinion, we don't live in a cruelty-free world. It's not possible to live a 100% cruelty-free life. From my laptop to my cell phone to my makeup, there's always going to be exploitation somewhere. So again, I feel like by voting with my dollars, I make an impact, and that's why I choose to, buy cruelty-free. That's why I choose to buy cruelty-free, whether or not the parent company is cruelty-free. I think it has a bigger impact than only buying 100% vegan. Question number 3, what is your main source for researching cruelty-free companies? Okay, so because I'm a cruelty-free blogger and I've been doing this for 6 years, my number one resource is for me to email the company a list of questions that I have. I have my list of standard questions that are the same questions that Jen from My Beauty Bunny and Tashina from Logical Harmony uses. So in addition to me emailing brands, I share the information I get from brands with Jen and Tashina, and they also share information with me. And so the three of us basically talk amongst ourselves to discuss brands and responses we get from brands. So in addition to myself reaching out to brands directly, I talk with Jen from My Beauty Bunny and Tashina from Logical Harmony. I also look at Leaping Bunny and I talk to the people at Leaping Bunny because Leaping Bunny, I think, does a lot of hard work to try to put together a list of great brands that are cruelty-free. And yes, you can be cruelty-free on their list and still have a parent company that's not cruelty-free. So just be aware of that. I don't really use PETA because I don't consider PETA to be a reliable source. They don't really do much more than just ask a brand, hey, are you cruelty free? And if the brand says yes, they're like, okay. They don't bother to check. They don't bother to look into anything about their manufacturers or their source for their ingredients or anything like that. So I personally don't feel like PETA is safe for me to use. But people will ask me if PETA is a good starting point. And I used to say yes. Now I say, well, if that's really who you want to go with, you can, but I will try to steer them towards Leaping Bunny or myself or My Beauty Bunny or Logical Harmony. Just, one of the lists that I personally have faith in and trust in. Let's see, question number 4. Many people assume being cruelty-free is expensive and the products don't work. Prove them wrong. What is your favorite product that is inexpensive and cruelty-free? Oh my God, there are so many great products that are inexpensive and cruelty-free. Number 1, Wet n Wild. Wet n Wild is a great, inexpensive, cruelty-free drugstore brand. And so they make some of my favorite products. They make one of my favorite all-time blushes, which is the Princess Daiquiris. That's this blush right here. It's an ombre blush. It's perfect for pale skin. They also make White Raven, which is one of my favorite highlighters, which is this highlighter right here that has a skull on it from the Gothic Graphic collection. But those are both really inexpensive. Physicians Formula is another cruelty-free drugstore brand that I love. And I love this blush, which is Plum Rose. I also love their bronzer, the Murmur Butter Bronzer. Another great drugstore brand is NYX, and NYX makes some really awesome eyeliners. They're faux blacks, they're faux white pencils. I also really love their Epic Ink Liner, which I think is a dupe for the Kat Von D liquid eyeliner. So there are a lot of great brands at the drugstores and drugstore price. In fact, I have a whole blog post dedicated to shopping cruelty-free at the drugstore that I'm going to link up here for you to go check out. But I have printables in that post too, so you can save them to your phone or you can print them out, whatever you want to do with it. It just makes it easier to go shopping if you have something to reference. Okay, so the next question is name your top cruelty-free brands. I'm going to do mainstream brands first. Number 1 is Urban Decay, of course, because I love just about everything Urban Decay makes. Number 2 would be Too Faced. And as you know, I recently fell in love with their Melted Lipstick in Clover, which is like this awesome dusty rose shade. It's a nice cool tone color on me. Number 3 would be Kat Von D. I love, love, love Kat Von D's aesthetic. I know it's not for everybody, but I like the goth aesthetic, obviously. So I really enjoy a lot of her products. I wish she did more colorful products because right now a lot of her stuff looks so basic because it's all neutrals. But she has some great lipsticks. Then there's Hourglass. I love my Hourglass Veil Mineral Primer. That stuff is amazing. And finally, I'm gonna have to say Pixie because I love my makeup fixing mist stuff. It's great. All right, so those are mainstream brands. I guess now to talk about indies. Let's see. Obviously, I really love Eden Minerals because they make my foundation. Like, for me to be able to have a foundation that I don't have to add white to, that's long wearing, that doesn't emphasize dry patches, that's comfortable on my dry skin, that's amazing. Yes, Eden Minerals, you were on my list. I also really love Silk Naturals, Phyrra, Darling Girl, and of course Aroma Lee and My Pretty Zombie. Oh, and Sugar Pill. Sugar Pill is great too, especially if you love brights. Next question, are you cruelty-free in other aspects of your life? Yes, I would say I'm cruelty-free in some, but not all. I'm not vegetarian or vegan. I tried being vegetarian for a while. I even tried eating vegan for a while, but it was not for me. It was not healthy for me. So even though I dated a vegan for 5 years, it was not good for me to do 24/7. I'm allergic to soy. I'm allergic to bell pepper. I can't do seitan anymore, which is like a gluten meat substitute thing. I can't do tempeh because it's soy. So there's a lot of things I can't eat that a lot of vegans and vegetarians eat. So, but I don't eat cows. I don't eat pigs. I try to pretty much stick to fish and sometimes chicken. But with around the house for like cleaning products, etc., I buy brands like 7th Generation, Method, Ecos. I think it's Mrs. Meyer's, stuff like that. And for me, I can find most of those at either Publix or Target. Sometimes I can't find everything at those places and I have to order online from Amazon. And what really sucks is Amazon used to make it available on Amazon.com, but now I have to go to Amazon Pantry and order a box, which is a pain in the ass just because, you know, some things are not that easy to find near me. But that's typically what I do, is I try to buy in bulk, and I try to buy the cruelty-free brands that I know I will use in bulk. I used to be all about buying vegan leather. After my incident with Guinness and having my vegan leather break like it was fast fashion, I'm not doing that anymore. Instead, I prefer to buy things secondhand from sites like The RealReal. And the reason for that is that, in my opinion, it's better to have an item that's going to last 10 years, 20 years, whatever, that's going to last a long time, as opposed to an item that's going to wear out in a year and become trash in a landfill and cause a lot more waste. So now I'm really into the buying things secondhand and making sure that it's going to be sustainable and long lasting, as opposed to something that's going to end up in the trash. I just don't see how it's viable to live a 100% cruelty-free life in our modern society currently. So, you know, I do still do things like take medications that I need, and yes, my medications were tested on animals, but I feel like taking care of my health is very important. I see things like makeup as luxury items that I don't, you know, I can get by in life without my makeup. I can't get by without my medication. For things like dog food, because people have asked me about this before, I know there are supposed to be cruelty-free dog food brands, but I have to feed Phaedra and Nick's Hill's Science diet, because when we got Nick's, she had problems with her digestive system and had diarrhea for like months. And so that's what my vet put her on, and that seemed to clear up the problems. So where I used to feed her, or where I used to feed the dogs Taste of the Wild, or where I used to feed Phaedra Taste of the Wild, I basically do Hill's Science diet now, just because that's what works for my dogs and keeps them healthy. So the next question is, who are your favorite cruelty-free YouTubers? Okay, so that one's really easy. Obviously, Jen from My Beauty Bunny, Tashina from Logical Harmony, Emily from Emily Wolf Beauty, Liv from Liv Loves Her Makeup, and also Tori from Biohazardous Beauty. Those would be like my top favorite cruelty-free YouTubers. And then the next question is, do you watch any YouTubers who are not cruelty-free? And the answer is yes. I do watch a ton of YouTube, and I watch a bunch of YouTubers who are not cruelty-free. Some of the non-cruelty-free YouTubers that I watch are like Arna Elena, Angelica Niviquist. I'm probably butchering that name. I'm so sorry. Jamie Page Beauty, Samantha Ravendall. I watch Jen Loves Reviews. I feel like I'm gonna blank and forget people I watch. I watch Makeup Struggles, Jackie Aina. I will put links in the comments below to the cruelty-free bloggers that I watch and the non-cruelty-free bloggers that I watch, just because I feel like I'm gonna forget people in both categories. But yeah, that was the cruelty-free tag. What are your thoughts? Please be sure to let me know in the comments below. If you like this video and wanna see more like it, please give it a thumbs up and share. I love it when you share my videos, and it really helps me out. Thanks so much for watching, and I'll see you in my next video.